Well, welcome to Political Paradigm. I'm Terry Ikumi. What an interesting week we began with. Concerns around Nigeria's democracies, with former President Olusegun Obasanjo describing it as dying, and just about everyone at a colloquium of former Deputy Speaker and former Governor of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha, agreeing that Nigeria's democracy is dying. It's raised quite a lot of reactions, and we've had a response from the presidency as well. We'll be talking about that today. We'll talk about Nigeria's political system, look at the situation in River State, some party politics, and a lot more on Political Paradigm today. I'm joined by former IPAC chairman, that's the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Mr. Yabagi-san, who is also the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party. Welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you very much, Ikubi, for having me.
It's nice to see you. I'm just really taken aback by a lot of things. When I think yesterday, former Governor of Imo State and the former Deputy Speaker of House of Reps, Emeka Ihedioha, held his colloquium to mark his 60th birthday. And it's not new per se, because we've had this canvassed on several occasions, but Nigeria's democracy was again brought to the fore, and this comes on the heels of the state of emergency declared in River State, as many have described the president's actions as unconstitutional. So I'd like to get your comments on the general take, so to speak, that was taken at the colloquium yesterday.
Yeah, well, it was a refreshing, engagement, in the sense that you had former presidents, most key political players were in attendance, and the good thing about it was that it presented the, if you like, the spectrum of our political history, because you cannot discuss the political development of Nigeria without bringing in the military and the role the military played, and if you like, disrupting the trajectory that we would have had if the First Republic was allowed to germinate, develop, and entrench democracy as it's supposed to be. So yes, like the former president and the head of state, President Olusegun Obasanjo, said, democracy has been reduced to a government of the few people for the few people over a large number of people. But if you ask me, I think the blame can be put squarely at the doorsteps of the likes of the former president Obasanjo. Why am I saying so? You see, I said the military intervention, which of course was an aberration, distorted or disrupted, that passionate and committed engagement with democracy, and the true commitment of the personalities that were there then to ensure that Nigeria really become the number one, a model of democracy on the continent of Africa. What I'm saying is that the likes of Awolowo, Sardauna, Zekwe, those were the nationalists, regardless of how you look at it. They were fighting for the people of this country. They were fighting for democracy. They were fighting for the independence. And independence means that your ability for you to govern yourself, isn't it? So when independence was given to us, who interrupted it? It was the military. So, and then from there on, we couldn't again get at building that democracy, which would have been the government of the people, for the people, by the people. Because the military that came in, they had the short-term objectives. They didn't have long-term objectives. So they were not planning for a long haul. They were not even planning for entrenchment of democracy. And even those who came after the military were also not better than the military, because the military had introduced this get rich quick, this grab, kind of thing, because they were not there for the people in any case. They were there for themselves, and then they were there to say, okay, what can I get? And that's why even today, even our economy, if you care to trace it, you will find that the hands of the military is still there.
Yeah,
in the polity and in the economy. And there's a very strong synergy between the economy and polity, because if you control the economy, you control the polity.
So that is still being argued by a number of persons. But when you hear someone like former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who's been a military head of state, and the former president tell you that the latter, that is democracy, isn't really thriving, it raises a lot of questions, doesn't it? Because he's had a taste of both worlds. Yeah, but let me ask you this question. How long will we continue to blame the military? At the colloquium yesterday, it was sort of concluded on that we started, yes, it was a nascent democracy. I refuse to agree that it is still nascent. We had started building on it, but it would seem that successive administrations are not building on the achievements year in, year out.
Yeah, you see the psyche, the kind of culture that was introduced. We had a long time engagement with the military. That's why you cannot quickly forget about the role played by the military. And in fact, if you look at democracy itself, democracy cannot be looked at, in a vacuum. You have to take along with it the state itself. And when you say the state, you have to also take along with it the civil servants. That is the people, the vehicle that delivers some of these things that you call division democracy. And the civil servants, after the military had lost, trust, confidence in the ability of the state to protect them. Because you remember the military, the Murtala Mohammed was immediate effect. This one sacked here. They didn't have anything to go back home, to fend for this. So that kind of lack of confidence, that it eroded the kind of commitment that you had for the civil servants, that came. So this is, and that has not left us. That's what I'm saying. That even the ones coming after them, that kind of mentality of let me make some arrangement for myself, so that when the inevitable, when something happened, as it happened.
But isn't that what the Constitution was for? I know the argument is that this is still a military constitution,
yes,
and there's a call for a new one. But shouldn't certain aspects of the Constitution have checked the mindset of a lot of people? True, you cannot change the mindset of a people, but it could check how you implement that thing you have in your head.
Yes, it's a social process, and it takes a lot of takes time. It takes persuasion. It takes convincing that yes, it is not going to be the way it was before. So yes, Constitution. It's like you rightly say, it's a military constitution. That's why so many parts of the Constitution, many provisions in that Constitution were just the military decrees, exactly, that were just modified and then panel together and then to give us. But even at that, I agree with you that we should begin now to effect a change, to take a new dimension where Nigerians will now begin to now trust and believe in their country and believe in the future of the country and believe that the state can take care of them. But what about the level of corruption that we have? How much have we really fought the corruption? Because corruption is the bane of our political, economic, and social development. And until we fight that, it will be difficult, because that has already eaten deep into our thinking that, oh, as a civil servant, I have to really take care of myself. Not because the state is not there to take care of you. You go your own. So until we now address those basic needs that institutionalize them and fight corruption, we will not be able to do that.
You know the argument at the time is that during the military regime,
yes,
corruption was by a small, perhaps those in power, the military per se, and it was sort of curtailed to an extent. And when President Obasanjo came in, he instituted the EFCC, the anti-graft agencies, and the idea was to check corruption. Many years down the line, corruption seems to be thriving, and these agencies still exist. So if I ask you, from the Obasanjo administration to the Tinubu administration, where do you think that we got it wrong with regard to how we fight corruption and this pullback with regard to how much our democracy has grown?
Yeah, you see, the missing link is the ability to really have a democratic government in place. Because when you had Obasanjo was not any better than a military government, because the way he sacked the national chairman of the party, the way he will remove the so-called FCC we are talking about, to go after some of the governors, the way some governors were removed, which is what we are talking about, with which I assure you is also copying, unfortunately, So these are the things that we need to get out of our system.
So you're saying the foundation of fighting corruption since the Obasanjo administration has been faulty. And that is what has festered to this point.
Exactly. It has been faulty because if we had had EFCC, ICPC that were truly independent and were not politicized, perhaps they would have been able to take care of some of these nefarious, some of these issues that, were the infractions that we are talking about in our political culture and things like that. But because those that we had at the heads of affairs, were also, it was like we were in transition, for so long, and we thought that Bola Tinubu coming to power would be now a situation where you have a truly democratic government, in place under a Democrat that fought, for the entrenchment of democracy. So, but that unfortunately is being eroded, for reasons that we have mentioned, which is a kind of autocratic, system of government, because corruption, is at the bottom of everything. Look at how we recruit our leadership. Nothing has changed. If you have money, you could be a drug pusher, you could be a pen pusher, you could be anything. You could be a stack robber. Once you can fuel that your briefcase with money and go to participate in any of these political exercises where people are elected, you'll be elected, to come and preside over the affairs of the people. So these are things that we must find a way by which we can fight, and until we can fight them, the system will remain the way it is. This vicious cycle will continue. So how do we begin to do it? How we begin to do it is for us to fight what is now known as state capture. And state capture is when you, through some awkward means, count all the three independent arms of government, like the judiciary, the legislature, and then the executive, as we have it today under President Bola Tinubu, because you remember how the principal officers of the National Assembly were elected. All of us, we saw what happened. Money changed hands. They were.
But that didn't start today.
No, it didn't start. No, you are asking me, how do we stop?
Okay.
How do we stop it? How you stop it is by looking at the state capture. If you don't fight the state capture, you can't fight anything. Because once you can capture the state, you have everybody at your beck and call. And that's what's happening today.
So the reason I brought that up is my concern, and I think this, I speak for a lot of Nigerians who say that all these things didn't start today, but for some reason, they are festered. If you look at someone like President Tinubu, he comes from a democratic setting. His background suggests that he is democratic. Also, he is one of those persons who say that he fought for the democracy which we enjoy today. So are you disappointed in perhaps how he has gone about this democracy, especially in the comment from Mr. Bayo Onanuga suggesting, this was his response to Mr. Peter Obi when he said that, when he gave instance of what happened to him as governor and drew attention to the Nigeria of today where the president is the one impeaching the governor. Mr. Onanuga had suggested that we should be happy, or Mr. Obi, and by extension Nigeria should be happy that we're enjoying free speech, which we would not have ordinarily enjoyed. How do you respond to that?
Well, I respond to that by, again, calling your attention to the fact that today, this government we have today is not the ideal, kind of structure that you're supposed to have. You shouldn't have the executive controlling the other arms of the government, because that's, the last version of the common man supposed to be the judiciary, isn't it? And your representative supposed to be the National Assembly. They are supposed to represent you, not represent Bola Tinubu, who's the president. Today, what you have is that National Assembly is representing Bola Tinubu. Anything he takes to them, they rubber stamp it. So this is where we must begin to now correct, the system which you are saying, which is not helping democracy to take root in this country. You ask whether I'm disappointed. Utterly disappointed, and I'll tell you why. When I was the chairman of IPAC, at the collation center, when we had that, democracy was almost, we had that long jam, we couldn't move on, we came out. And we came out because what were we looking at? We're looking at Nigeria, we're looking at democracy. And again, we said, well, whatever may happen, the person that will probably benefit from what we are about to do now is a Democrat. So that's why we went out to say Mahmoud should continue, the Professor Mahmoud should continue counting, and we should wait until after the counting, whoever have anything should go to the court and then seek redress. But what happened? So this is why I'm saying Nigerians should start looking at how we have the state, made up and how it has been captured. You have a representative, isn't it, who is the National Assembly members. So we should begin from there, because if you don't begin from there, I don't know how you can fight Bola Tinubu, today. I don't know who or what you can do to fight him, because if it's money, he has more money than you. If it is the state apparatus, he has all of them at his beck and call. So these are the things that we must.
I'm glad you brought up your time as IPAC chairman, because I'm curious to know from you. Because IPAC is an umbrella body for all political parties, yes. And you talk about the lack of independence of the different arms of government. So yes. If we look at the political angle of things and the fact that there is opposition, there should be opposition, and yet the president, as you put it, still controls the opposition. The question is, during your time as IPAC chairman, what did you observe to be the problem with political parties system in Nigeria that has led to this state of state capture, as you put it?
What I observe is that it was the Constitution, assumed that political parties are going to be independent. They are going to be parties that are formed by individuals through their contributions. That is the annual subscription fee that you pay, and that the executives of the party will be independent. They can take decisions, on their own, without undue interferences from, people outside the ESCO. I mean, the executive members of the party. But that is not true today. It's not true for any political party, and that's the fact of the matter. Because he who pays the piper,
no independent political party.
Exactly. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. And of course, I will not subscribe to the idea of saying that we should now go back to a situation where the state will now be giving money to political parties, because that was practiced. I mean, was tried and it was abused. So the issue is that we cannot, and again, you can't have democracy without political parties. Otherwise, what you are having is autocracy. So Nigerians must begin to also know that they need to contribute individually. Don't think your 1 naira or 10 naira or 1,000 naira is too small. It's not too small. If you pay your dues. Today, I can tell you, for free, that members of political parties are paid, to even hold membership cards. When you are having elections, people say, wait, we don't have money. We can't come to the conventions. We can't do anything. You have to pay them. It doesn't happen that way. So shall we say that the assumption that government of the people, by the people, for the people does not apply, because people have to build their own political parties. And to build because if you look at what is happening in outside our shows, like maybe the so-called developed democracies, people pay their way to conventions, They don't wait for some big weeks or something like that to now put them, give them transport money and feeding and allowances and things like that. Today, what happens is that governors or those who have money, they camp the delegates. They put them where they want them, and then they tell them what to do. Some of them have never seen the person they are voting for. They have never even heard his name before. They don't even know who he is. So we have to begin from there. What am I saying? The electors, we ourselves Nigerians, we have to have a rethink of how do we look at democracy. Is it money? Is it about money? This mercantile system of running democracy cannot and should not be allowed to ruin, the best form of government, so far that, man, known to man, which is democracy. So it's also our own fault as individuals, as Nigerians.
When you say that political parties pay certain individuals,
yes,
to come off as members,
yes, even to attend meetings,
yes, that almost suggests that the register or membership of political parties is questionable, and that political parties may not have as much members as they claim to have. Now, that raises a question of the deregistration of political parties, or the number of political parties that we need. Do we need more political parties or less?
No, if you go by the Constitution, freedom of association.
It's agreed. It's agreed. But the party system, I'm just trying to get your understanding of what you think.
I don't subscribe to the idea of deregistering any political party, because it's supposed to be that inalienable rights has been given by the Constitution, that you can freely associate.
So you don't agree with the two-party system that some have proposed?
No. It's normally, you don't do it by fiat. No, it's a natural phenomenon. It develops, until it comes to a stage where the two parties are known. Not the kind of two parties you have today. These ones are built on a very quicksand, foundation. So the issue is that it has to evolve, organically. And when it evolves organically, then you now see truly strong political parties that you can say on the one to the left and one to the right, kind of. But the situation today is that, like I said, I'm not in support of registering any political parties. So we have to begin somewhere, and we have to develop. We have to make mistakes and correct them, isn't it? You have to allow parties to practice, fail, and then study where they have failed, and then make amends so that they can now be stronger. And again, the rule, the Constitution itself does not help development of democracy. Whether it's deliberately done. What am I saying? When somebody wins on the platform of one party, and all of a sudden you just wake up one day and say, no, I'm no longer your member. I'm going to APC or another party, as the case may be. So that should be a law, because when you look at the contest, when elections are taking place, it is not the individual's name that is on the ballot. It's the party that is the symbol that is on the ballot. So how could it be? Even logic does not support the idea of you winning. What the party has won, and you are president of the party. You want to leave, and they say you will leave with all the benefits, of the party. So we have to look at our laws.
There's a constitutional amendment currently before the National Assembly, which has just killed second reading in House of Reps. I think to direct anyone who wants to resign from a political party to go through the process who wants to defect, rather, to go through the process of actually resigning from the party.
Exactly.
Do you think that is effective? And will that address, one, decampments, and the concerns around whether or not a person still should occupy a position despite walking away from a party?
No, it will help strengthen the parties, growth of democracy, because if people who have won elections on a political party do not leave, which means they will now help to contribute to the building of that political party. So, but if you resign, that means you are no longer a member of the party, and you lose, every other thing that that you enjoy, as a member of that political party. So I think it's a very good move, and I hope it will see the light of the day.
There's another one, which is for INEC to conduct local government elections. Would you subscribe to that?
Yeah, I subscribe to that, but not under the kind of arrangement, because INEC itself also has a lot of fundamental issues that even INEC people themselves are not happy the way things are. For instance, you now have somebody who should, for instance, that's a state, let me just tell you, that appointed an immediate past chairman of the ruling party in that state as the state INEC chairman. I mean, that's the immediate past chairman of that particular
What state is that?
Yes, of the state.
What state?
Niger State. That's my own state. That's ridiculous. That democracy, that is That's how much more can you be ridiculous about the whole thing?
Okay,
So I'm telling you now that if you want to have a free, fair, credible elections, then people that are supposed to pretend over the process must also be truly independent.
There's this argument that they're no longer members of the party, so their loyalty will not be divided. I say this because I had the same conversation with the Osun State Governor, Ademola Adeleke, a couple of weeks ago. And he was responding to the concerns around the state's electoral chairman at the time, and he said the same thing.
It's an organized crime, and they know it. If he was on the other side, he wouldn't agree that it's the right thing to do. How can you say somebody has resigned? How do they resign? You know, it's just for you to to answer your question. And then
Mr. Sani, let's come to the state of the nation now.
Yeah.
I want to start off with this reaction that has trailed the gesture by the president's son, Sheyi Tinubu, when he was in the north to share some food. Senator Yari, over the weekend, we saw some videos of him reacting to it. And it's almost as though this gesture has turned around to bite him, especially from the northern people. Is this Senator Yari's position, or do you think that he has a point?
Well, you see, the issue is that it's always difficult to separate, the person from the office. What am I trying to say? Is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as a person today, cannot be separated from the office of the president, isn't it? And I don't think there's anything wrong in any member of his family that can contribute to development of democracy and to making the situation better for the people. They should be denied the opportunity of doing that, because, blood is thicker than water. It's the fact that this is, in the case of Sheyi, like you are saying, it's my father. So if he succeeds, I have succeeded. If he fails, I have failed. It goes on for everybody. So, but I think what people are complaining about is the fact that you have chosen a particular region, and then again, you are the contributor to making that region to be poorer than it used to be. Because today the poverty level in the north is unprecedented. We have never had, nobody has ever seen anything like that.
You blame the president for it.
Eh?
You blame
the president because
it.
he's in charge. Why I go to United Nations and blame the Secretary General of the United Nations?
But poverty in the
he's
north,
in charge of
the poverty in the north has existed over time, and many have said that we've had northern presidents who have not contributed to lifting their people out of poverty. So how do you blame the president who's been in office for 2 years?
The president could be somebody from the north or from the southeast or from the southwest or wherever he may be from. The point I'm making is that whoever is in charge is responsible for whatever is happening to the country, especially when you talk about the lot of the people, how the welfare of the people have been eroded, in the manner that it has been eroded here today. So it is the anger of the north against the kind of horrendous, situations they found themselves that is now being extended to Sheyi. It's not because Sheyi is helping his father, because nobody can stop. Even there's no country where you don't find families, coming together to help, their own. It's allowed. It's a natural thing, that tendency that happens. So I don't blame Sheyi for doing what he's doing, but I think what they need to do is to be a bit more diplomatic about it, because what is wrong with, for instance, you say you are doing iftar, and at iftar you are singing, you are dancing. That is anti-Islam. You can't. It's not where you are doing iftar that you start singing and dancing, and then on your mandate we stand and things like that. So they should have done it in a manner that will be in consonance with the teachings of Islam.
Let me sort of play the devil's advocate and ask a very genuine question now.
Yeah.
What is the difference between when Sheyi Tinubu goes to the north and shares food for the less privileged, and when a northern politician does so?
The difference is that there is a high level of anger against the president. It's not Sheyi that they are talking about. They are talking about the president himself. They are angry with him.
But at what point do the people begin to also hold their elected representatives and their governors accountable?
The moment you assume the office, the very first minute that you assume the office.
Okay, let's do a quick.
You will be accused. I know he may have the best of intentions. I'm talking about Bola Tinubu, with all the very hard decisions that he has taken. He took those decisions because he believed that if we do not address those gaps that we had, perhaps there's no way our economy can get better. Yes, agreed, but the onus is on him to ensure that you introduce dampers, in a manner.
But the president says that since the removal of fuel subsidy, which has caused this hardship, that the states now get more money. So you would expect that the states would have more money to at least help cushion the effect on their people as well.
To fuel corruption, more corruption?
At what level?
At the level of the states, the state operatives.
So you think the removal of fuel subsidy has fueled more corruption at the state?
Oh, that's why the governors were so much for it. That's the only reason. That's the only reason why they were so much for it, because they knew that more money will be available to them, and nobody will question them, that for the wars or for the hardship that they are facing. This is what is happening. That's why I said the state capture is not only at the federal level, it's also at the state level. And until you can address that, until corruption can be fought, in a manner that will make Nigerians to believe that yes, we now have a president that really means business. He means that to work for us, not to allow governors, chairmen, local governments, elected officials to just take advantage of them in a manner that will make you feel as if it's an occupier, how do you say, occupation, military occupation, yes, that they have come to, they're conquered as conquered people. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. So the president, haven't made way for these governors to have more money to steal and then do all sorts of things, should follow it up with ensuring that EFCC, like you said, should work as EFCC. ICPC should work as ICPC, so that governors can be also taken to court where it's allowed. I know they have immunity, but even at that, you can prepare your case, waiting for them to leave
Mr.
office.
We're almost out of time, but a quick party politics just before we go. The new, I like to call them the new Social Democratic Party, considering what's going on. Have you been following development in the Social Democratic Party, and what do you think about that?
No, you see the political dynamics, are such that you see things happening. But again, things are still very, very fluid. If you are like you wait and see what happens, because it's a political movement that it's yet to really have a kind of structure and force that you will say will represent what Nigerians are aspiring for. Not because I am chairing another political party, and it's because from the experience I have seen these kind of things happening, and all of a sudden it's just a kind of a flash in the pan, But, yeah, it has happened quite a number of times.
Okay, let's see how that unfolds. Mr. Yabagi Sani, National Chairman, Action Democratic Party, and former Chairman of the Interparty Advisory Council. Thank you very much for coming on Political Paradigm.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Welcome back to Political Paradigm. I'm now being joined by former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Kola Ologbodinyo. Mr. Ologbodinyo, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you very much, Terry. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I couldn't help but notice that you were in somewhat of a disagreement with Mr. Yabagi Sani on some of the things he said, especially with regard to how political parties should act concerning the state capture that's now being propagated. What do you say to that?
No, I just told him that it's a lazy man argument to say that, because of what's perceived as state capture. So politicians should not bother because the sitting president has taken over. It doesn't make sense to you. And I told him right away, it doesn't make sense to me. If we agree to that, then he doesn't need to be a party chairman. Then any other party should exist. Then everybody should pack their things and go and sit down at home. Then that one party state that will fare most will now become operational. Because if I go by his argument, that's what he's saying. And he went for that to say, oh, look at the National Assembly. They are representatives. It is the people who will decide their return. Whether they will come back or not will be decided by the people. So if as a party leader, you are already saying that 2 years ahead of the election, or one clear year ahead of the election, you are already saying that, oh, the sitting president has taken over everything. I don't buy into that.
Are you saying that the sitting president has not taken over everything, or you're proposing a solution to him taking over everything?
I am telling him that he should go and mobilize his own party.
No, I'm asking you.
Yes.
Because even your party is not well mobilized, if we're being honest.
Yes.
So the question is, what is the way forward? Because I like to think you agree that with him, that certain aspects of the polity, as many have conversed, have been hijacked by one party.
Yes.
The All Progressives Congress.
Yes.
So what is the move for political parties?
The move is very straight now. Terry, go and mobilize a member of your own party. If you are going into a coalition, go into a coalition. If you are fighting as individual parties and you think you can make a difference, go and fight as individual parties and see how you can make a difference. It's absolutely misplaced to now sit down and tell Nigerians that
all hope is lost.
All of us, we have lost it too. But we have not even started registration of voters or improvement on the register of already registered voters. I agree that there are challenges in the process, but it's not a summation. It should not be a summation that, oh, let's quickly forget it because a particular person has taken over. How do you say that in the country of over 200 million people?
There's something else he said, and I'd like to take you up on it as a party man yourself, and it has to do with membership of political parties. He thinks it's questionable. The membership of political parties should be questioned because some political parties, as much as pay people to be members or to be delegates and all that. And I don't know how it is in the People's Democratic Party, but can you vouch for the membership of the People's Democratic Party? And are there dues-paying members of your party up to date?
Terry, the People's Democratic Party membership is organic. I can say that anyway. But when it comes to the issue of election, it's a different ballgame entirely. When it comes to the issue of delegates, choosing who they will vote for, it's also a different case entirely. But when you talk about membership, I can say it clearly that among all the registered political parties in Nigeria, none, and I mean none, even as we speak, in spite of the crisis that has enveloped the People's Democratic Party, its membership, the members are standing strong. The challenge in the PDP is leadership, and we have to accept that.
So let me ask you a question. When you say elections and delegates are a different ballgame, what do you mean?
What I mean is that, look, you must mobilize delegates to election. And mobilization can include spending of money. But it is different from saying that, oh, okay, membership are not organic.
Is it normal practice, global best practice for delegates to be mobilized?
I will not say it is normal practice. But the unfortunate situation is that it is the practice here in our election.
You condemn the practice?
So of course now. By so doing, and that's what you can see that is happening now under this government. Weaponizing poverty, weaponizing hunger, so that when election time comes, they bring out money. People will then tend to forget the suffering they have gone through.
How does that affect mobilization of delegates for your party? Because I'm asking you directly about your party.
Yeah, yes.
And for your party, you already agree that it's not global best practice for delegates to be mobilized by individuals because then they don't have a mind of their own. Is your party going to continue this, or is it something that can change over time?
It's a domestically global issue. It's not an issue that, oh, one party can say, okay, we'll do it like this, and we'll do it, and that's the way it's going to be. If you do it that way, another party is doing it.
No, I'm asking about the PDP.
No, wait, I would have to lay the foundation for you, Terry. I need to lay the foundation.
You know you can't speak for other parties.
No,
I want you to speak for the PDP.
No, I have to lay the foundation for you. And I'm saying that if you say, oh, in my own party, People's Democratic Party, you want to change the tradition. You want a situation in which even delegate votes will count in a manner that it is predicated on the conviction of the delegates. But even that one is neither here nor there, Terry, because you have seen situations, even in my own party, where people give delegates money and they still proceed to vote their conscience. You can find that. So it's a different ballgame here and there. You understand? You can also find a situation where people weigh which of the delegates, which of the aspirants' influence is heavier, and they decide the votes in that manner. Are you getting it? So there's no need to pretend about all this. It happens everywhere. The rain is falling everywhere.
Okay.
So it's like, even in the APC, they do similar things too. It's only the smaller parties like the ADP that Chief Yabagi just spoke for that. Maybe you might not find such a situation.
And the reason is?
And the reason is that membership is low.
Okay.
And at the election, there's a tendency that there's little or no competition. And people can just say, oh, okay, I can't get tickets in the PDP. I can't get tickets in the APC. Okay, let me look at where I can get tickets. They just go there, pick the ticket and contest.
You know, that's a sad reality in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's a very, very sad reality. And that is why when people get into offices, maybe as president, I'm sure you heard Rufai when he was complaining about the presidency of Bola Tinubu, that he cannot recognize his party again. You understand? So the challenge had always been there. You understand? In a manner that, oh, okay, people are elected into the National Assembly. They don't care about the party any longer. People are elected governors. They create another platform. They forget the one that brought them to power. They create the platform. They relate to that. These are challenges confronting us.
Okay, let's do a little more party politics and go into your party proper now. I'd like to get your reaction to the Supreme Court ruling on emphasizing that the National Secretary is Senator Sam Anyanwu. I want to ask a direct question. Is this a victory for the party in general?
I'm not aware.
Of what?
That the Supreme Court judgment conferred National Secretaryship on Senator Sam Anyanwu.
What are you aware of?
What I'm aware of is that party are at the liberty to decide who their members and their leaders are. That is the interpretation that my own party, the People's Democratic Party, has given to that through the official spokesperson of the party, Barrister Debo Ologunagba. And as a party member, I stand by that.
So I'm trying to get the statement from the National Working Committee on that, because they refuted that statement from Debo.
Which National Working Committee refuted it?
You're not aware that your party refuted that, saying that they stand by the Supreme Court order?
Terry, the party has not retracted that statement. Let me tell you how these things work. You understand? If Debo Ologunagba, on behalf of the NWC, make any pronouncement that the party doesn't agree with, you know the reversal order. The reversal order is that the neck has to sit.
Okay, so let's just clear this issue of whether your party has spoken or not. The Deputy National Publicity Secretary issued a statement where he says the PDP National Working Committee thanks the Supreme Court for affirming that the PDP National Working Committee does not recognize Senator Sam Anyanwu, Ibrahim Abdullahi, the Deputy National Secretary.
But Friday say now, Friday covers PDP.
Yeah, but there are two statements. There are two statements from both of them.
Wait. There are three statements, and I will explain it for you. There are three statements, Terry. I'm sure Friday, your correspondent in the People's Democratic Party must have the party's constitution. You understand? In this case that you are referring to, there are three statements.
Okay.
First statement came from Debo Ologunagba, the official spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party. And whatever, I'm saying this on record, whatever Debo, as spokesperson of the party, says, his deputy cannot reverse it. they cannot reverse it. But having laid that...
But that suggests that there's the crack in the NWC still exists.
Even the deputy is not a member of NWC. He's a member of NEC. He's not a member of NWC. People need to understand these issues. So let me make the point clearer for you. So now, Labour made that statement. There was another statement claiming that they have reversed that statement, which is what you just read.
Yes.
There's a third statement from the same chap saying that he did not issue that first statement. I don't know why I didn't bring my phone in. I would have opened the messages and showed them to you. You understand? Abdullahi has come out to say that that first statement, which they claim reversed the statement of Debo Olugun-Agba, didn't come from him, and you can reconfirm it. So, on the face of that, in fact, he even made an advice, and I held tenaciously to that advice. He said, even if Supreme Court said that Sam Anyanwu is National Secretary, he said Sam Anyanwu who needs the family, the PDP as a family, for him to be able to sustain it. Do you get that? So that is factual. So all this noise, all this hawking...
So you're saying that the PDP recognizes Udo Okoye as its national secretary?
Look, the party has organs. You understand? One, the working committee came out and ratified Udo Okoye as the national secretary. Are you getting it? After the National Working Committee, the Board of Trustees came out and ratified Udo Okoye. I'm sure you remember, I don't know, well, I'm sure you should remember, that the Governors Forum, the most influential group in the People's Democratic Party, because they are not officially an organ, but they are the most influential group in the PDP, went to Delta State, held a meeting, and at that meeting ratified Udo Okoye. And you must also know, it's an established fact, that whatever the National Working Committee says, you understand, where the NEC is supposed to do something, to say something, and the National Working Committee has come to say it, what NWC has said, because it can act on behalf of the National Executive Committee. We now proceed to the National Executive Committee for either ratification or dismissal.
Okay.
Do you get that? So these are the issues. They are well laid out. Forget all the people who are hawking around and saying that a party does this, party does that. It's absolutely wrong.
Let me ask you. I want to get a quick reaction because time really flies to the issue in Rivers State. Yeah. And while I know your party has issued a statement in that regard, even the Governors Forum, the PDP Governors Forum has issued a statement condemning the action of the president. Some argue that the outcome of it is relative peace so far since that announcement. What do you think about that?
My position on the state of emergency.
State of emergency.
It's an absurdity. Very clearly, that state of emergency is an absurdity. It's not captured in law. And I'm afraid for this democracy. Now, this is very personal to me. Anyway, I don't even speak for the party. This is very personal to me. Because we wake up one day in this country and the National Assembly will declare the birthday of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a national holiday. It will happen. Because if they can collect, there are allegations in public space that parliamentarians were paid between $10,000 and $5,000 to form their decisions. And if we have reduced the parliament...
But your party members were there. They voted for it. And in fact, they made amendments. They made amendments to the proposal by the president. Believing that it would foster peace.
Just as my party members were also there, who walked out of that shame. Have you not read that? Have you not read the account of party PDP members who said they walked out? Have you not read it?
In what chamber?
Who even said that?
In which chamber?
In both chambers?
No.
Okay, at least in the Senate chamber. At least you agree to that one.
I would agree to an extent.
So and they even went to the extent. apart from walking out, of coming out to state their own stance. And they even said, in some cases, that they didn't even have the quorum to sit, particularly in the Senate. Even in the House, there are challenges to that. It is totally unfortunate, and it's disgraceful that the National Assembly can be pushed to that limit.
Okay, so we're almost out of time, but I cannot leave here without asking you about the plan to recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan.
Well, I don't know. You know, I had the privilege of reporting the National Assembly, just like you do. And I also had the privilege of serving as an advisor to a Senate president for 8 years. But you know, you cannot take anything beyond this current government. Outside of that, recall is, just as creation of state, is almost impossible. Let's put it at that. But you know, you are under a system of government where machinations have become the currency of governance. So you can never say this can happen or this cannot happen. You understand? But be it as it may, if the pattern, if the rule is the guidance, I can clearly tell you that recall of parliamentarian is nearly impossible. Look at the case of Dino Melaye, senator. You understand? So it's the same thing. It was not possible. It was not achievable. So I say possibility of this not being achievable. But with all the shenanigans that's going on now, you never can tell because we are not in the.
So you won't be surprised if the recall goes through?
I will still be in shock that this can happen. You understand? Because I know that procedurally, in a normal situation, it should not happen.
But what do you think about the whole saga anyways? Because you're Kogi as well.
Yeah.
And that's your, as they say, your sister.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how we have, it's almost like this has pit Kogi people against Kogi people. Understandably so for many because she's of the opposition in Kogi State. So some are saying the voice of Esau, the hand of Jacob, or the hand of Jacob, the voice of Esau and this. Do you think that the state government in this?
Well, I honestly, and I'm saying this matter of factly, I've seen situations in the social media in which the state government was being dragged. But me, I see what is happening as a fallout of what happened on the floor. And until now, from the beginning, I have blamed the Senate president for inability to manage the floor. And I have not departed from that. I think that's what brought the situation of the National Assembly to where it is. And I've also said now on another platform that since Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the presiding officer, Senator Godswill Akpabio, have a relationship from the account they have given in public space, they should go back there. They should return to that relationship and find a solution, first and foremost there. Otherwise, I don't want to add this.
Mr. Kola Ologbodinyan, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on Political Paradigm. And thank you for allowing me to pull you out from I really did pull you out. Mr. Ologbodinyan, you're most welcome. Mr. Ologbodinyan is the former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Thanks for your time as well. If you'd like to catch this entire episode, and I mean the first conversation inclusive, please go to YouTube and search Political Paradigm or simply go to channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.